Toastmasters, and most welcome guests. Today we're going to go through the theme of milestones. So, in order to have a set of milestones, we need a roadmap. But before even the roadmap, we need a goal. So I'm going to give a goal, and then I'm going to ask someone to give us a roadmap, just 3 items. And then from then on, we're going to have people talk about the milestones to get to that goal. The goal is to build a colony in space. Who is better to doing that, to talk about that? Haroon. Give us the roadmap on how to get to build a colony in space when the alarm goes off and you're not even born yet. 3 things, please, very quickly.
3 things. Kind of milestones that I would put in place for a colony in space. Number 1, have an alarm like that. I think that's exactly the kind of thing that people need to sort of get them in action. Space is a very inhospitable place, and you really can't. I've never been to space, but I'm fascinated by the idea of going in there. And from what I've read, you really cannot anticipate what's going on. So the kind of milestones that I would start putting in place is, number 1, have an alarm like that. Number 2, have a permanent station in space where people can go in and live there. The reason why I think that's important is because living in space for long periods of time is more important than actually getting to another planet. Because of the vast distances involved, there's really not. Landing on a planet might actually be more simpler than actually staying in space and staying sane. So having a permanent presence in space is much more important. Number 3, the other thing that I would start working on is having space stations that actually can spin and generate artificial gravity. That's important because there's no way that we've actually evolved to use gravity as a way. Okay, certain milestone over there. I thought I might reach that milestone. As a way that the way we stand up, the way blood flows in our bodies. So having a way to have spinning space stations is an important milestone to achieve for human habitation in space. Thank you.
Thank you, Haroon. So that's very ineffable to get there. You have to have an alarm, you have to have a permanent station, and then you have a bunch of spinning stations. So before we get to that point, you were just born and you're just in 7th grade. Who's in 7th grade? Would you come up and tell us what you're going to do next as your milestone before you get to space? I apologize, I forgot your name. Mahavir. Let's welcome Mahavir in 7th grade to tell us. What's the next step you're going to do before you can get to space from 7th grade?
That's a good question. So what would I do next from the 7th grade to get to the space? If I can, I would build a rocket to set off to the space, and I would build that rocket to split off. I think it was Apollo something number that did that. I would do a rocket like that. Then I would launch it into the space, and I would land on. I think I would land on a planet that is kind of similar to Earth, and I heard that in space, time goes slow. So when you count, if you live there for many days or months, when you come back to Earth, you will be young, and everybody else will be old. So you might live forever. Um, then you can also then I would find another Earth that goes time slower than the space. So I might, if there is one day past, then on Earth it will be 1,000,000 years past. Um, and yeah, I would find those things in the space.
Thank you. So you just happen to have gotten 1 year younger, and now yourself, Nemanov, is that right? You're 1 or 2 years younger now. Please come up and tell us, before you even get to space, how do you get to high school? You went to space, came back younger, now you have to go to high school. That's your milestone.
Okay, if I have to go to high school, I'm gonna read as fast as I can. I'm gonna learn everything from my brother since he's 1 step ahead of me, and he's bigger than me, so he might know something better than me. Mainly about science because he's a fan of science and I am too. I've learned math soon enough because I like math and I do math more than enough. The only problem is studying because I don't do that much studying. I have dirty handwriting. High school doesn't expect that, so I need to work on my handwriting in a few months or a few days. I learned it from my father because he teaches me everything. And that would be it. I will try to bring me to high school. Then after high school, I'm gonna build a rocket bigger than my brother's, and then go to space.
That's great, thank you. So, you finish high school, what's the next thing you're gonna do? We're gonna ask our guests, before you even get to space, what do you have to do what's your next milestone? And your guest name is?
Ivy?
Ivy. Let's welcome Ivy.
So after high school, the most expected next stage of the path would be college. And obviously that's where a lot of people go to study like things like engineering, like mechanical engineering, aerospace engineering, electrical engineering, to eventually build technology that's good enough to bring us to space, to build those spinning stations, to explore the different planets to see if there's any mineral, if there's any new elements that we can use to advance our technology even here in space. Here in Earth or not in space. So I would think that the next step after high school or just in general in life would just be continuously learning to use those knowledge in places where we can find a good use of those knowledge and to collaborate with other people. So I would think that after high school to try new things, or even just throughout life to try new things, to do different activities, to go to different parts of the world, to really understand people, and to find people who think differently than you, to combine the knowledge that everyone has, and to allow you to think in innovative ways, to apply your knowledge, but also to not just think in one dimension, but to find all sorts of ideas from all around the world, to find solutions that will benefit humankind as a whole. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. You finished college. Now you're still stuck on Earth. So how do you get to the next milestone? We're gonna ask our Jose, our guest, to help us get to the next milestone.
Next milestone after you're still stuck on Earth. Actually, I'm an aerospace engineer. I've launched many satellites in space, and so it's not a big deal launching anything in space. Not a big deal. And so the next milestone is really surviving in space. That's the next thing. The biggest thing in challenge in surviving in space is food. Okay, and also being able to just live in space. And the next thing really, it's a huge effect, is to you is your mind, your well-being, psychological aspects of living in space. It's because it's a totally different environment. Your body changes and reacts to different things. Everything is different. And so if you're traveling through space, then you eventually will end up in a planet somewhere, because you can't live in space for a long time. You would have to have a very big spaceship in order to survive for many years. And so psychologically, you have to be able to engage into the socially and still be able to live with everybody else. And you have to have a really strong mind and know how your mind works. And so I think that's the next milestone as far as being able to tackle the next milestone. Thank you.
Great, thank you. So as our last table topics person, we need a volunteer to get us to the goal from that milestone of having a strong mind in space. Who would wonder? Raj.
So I have these thoughts might be a little different from what Jose said. So going to space and living in space is definitely a dream, but I kind of aligned my thoughts with what Jeff Bezos said, the Amazon CEO. He said that we have spoiled our planet enough so that we'll build our industries in moon and other space and have this earth for ourselves. The concerns that Jose brought up, like, I have to change my mindset. I have to build a big, huge ship. I don't know how my life is going to be. Am I going to lose all the good things that I have on this earth? We'll have this earth for ourselves and put all the bad things somewhere, right? It's like a backup store for us. You can build your industries, put all the smoke there and have the good things here. You can go build all the robotic machineries and automated things over there and get the benefits from there and keep our Mother Earth safe. So that's my thought process, and I think that aligns with what Jose said. Do you agree with me?
That's great, thank you. That concludes our table topics, and we're going to welcome back our general evaluator, Raj.
Thank you.